Hi everybody and welcome, it's Scarlet Pete here in my knitting machine series on self-sufficiency. Today I've got the green and cream Brother KH881. Now this is quite a nice machine. It's a punch card standard gauge machine and we can knit lots of things like gloves, hats, scarves, jumpers, baby wear, all middle of the road, medium gauge yarn, 4 ply. In the lid there we've got the lace carriage, antenna and sinker plate that goes on the front of the machine. Now I've been asked to do a how to clean this machine, service it and clean it, and that's what I'm going to tell you all about. Now why would you want to clean the machine? Well, when you're starting to machine knit, the best thing you can do if you're getting a new to you knitting machine is get to know it, and that's the best thing to do. Strip it down, clean it up, make it easy to use, make it a dream to use, and then you'll really enjoy learning to knit. So that's my first step when you're learning to knit. What do we need to clean the machine down with? First thing, a really good vacuum cleaner with a nozzle on the end. Secondly, some things to clean with. Now then, I've taken out half the needles already, and what I use to clean the needles is some old-fashioned, good stuff, cheap surgical spirits. And we get this from Roland's Chemist and from this one from a pound shop. So that's good. I've got also an air duster. This is ideal. It blows out air into all the nooks and crannies and knocks all the bits of fluff out. The other thing I'm experimenting with is an engine degreasant to melt and clean away all that grime. And then you've got to think about oiling. Now there's some do's and don'ts. Let's put the don'ts together. We don't use baby oil, even if you're told to. Don't. It's for bottoms, not machines. WD-40. Oh, it's wonderful stuff, but not really for knitting machines. It gunges them up. It's got extra additives. Don't go there. Now I went to my local auto shop and they said this is the stuff to use. I haven't used it yet. Look, it's still got the straw on. I'm going to look into this. This is a spray-on oil and lubricant and degreasing thing, I believe. Penetrating. That's it. And they also recommended this foam degreasing. That's what I'm going to try and use, but this one I'm going to do a bit more research on. Another must-have is a good stiff bristled long brush. That's to clean down. Look how far that will go down and scrub and clean when you've got chemicals on it. We probably will need a star screwdriver. And here's a lovely new thing that I've just treated myself to for Christmas because my kids nicked my old one. It's a micro toolkit. Now this goes on your vacuum cleaner pipe and you end up with a micro vacuum cleaner. It's nice powerful suction to clean all the way down the front and in the nooks and crannies. This poor machine is really unloved, grimy. The carriage is stuck. We can't go any further than there. That's not working. So that's going to be a video on its own self, how to sort out whatever problem we've got with this carriage. But the needle beds are quite easy to deal with. They need to be vacuumed thoroughly on the top. And we need to get in these needle holes here. And the best way to do that is by removing the needles. Do you know how to do that? Well, at the end of the bed here, in this hole, we have the sponge bar lurking. This is on the opposite side. This is what it looks like, you see? And that, we need to pull all the way out in this direction or that direction. And what we use generally to do that is a screwdriver pushed into the hole to catch on to the end of the sponge bar, which will then push it out in the other direction. Once we've pushed enough out, it's generally pretty easy to pull all the way out. And there we have a problem. That there is a completely depressed and flattened sponge bar. Now you can't really knit with a sponge bar in this state. So if you're getting a new to you machine, you're going to have to change this. You can use window sponge that they put in the sponge, as long as it's got a backing on, like this has got. Look at this, this is just in the right state, the sponge. It's an insulation thing, an air proofer of windows. Have a look, take this with you to your hardware shop and you should be able to find a narrow strip, sponge backed, with a nylon ribbon on top that you can put in this one's place. We need to clean that out completely, but that's for another video. But that definitely has to be replaced. Now we've got the sponge bar out, that gives us access to the needles. But the first thing I would do is loosen and take off this very dirty plastic needle strip. Look at all that fluff. You see that? That green is actually fabric fluff. So if we can see this here, that is going to be on the inside of the machine. My carriage release mechanism is broken, so what I'm going to do to get it off is slide it gently off the end of the machine and have a look at the underneath. That is really dirty, but it doesn't seem to have any broken bits in it at the moment. Put that to one side. We'll deal with that in another video, else this one will be too long. Next job is to pull these needles out. What I've got is the pot. Now you cannot access these needles to pull them out unless the sponge bar is out. You see, when the sponge bar is not there, the back ends will kick up. What you want to do, and I have a video showing exactly how to do the needle removal if you need to check on that any further. Close the needle, the latch hooks, lift, tilt here, push it out so it goes across the back. Now in the middle we've got a bending bit, so that if you grab the end and you can bend it quite strongly, it just pulls straight out like that. And what I'm going to do is bring all these needles out. Pick another one out for you here. Grab the end, bend it over the plastics and out, and collect them in the box. I'll show you in a minute when I've done them all. You're going to get dirty fingers. You see how they've all come forward like this, but one isn't quite the same as the others, and that one there feels a bit sticky and strained, and when you actually look, it is bent to the side. So I'm going to take that one out and put that to one side. What I'd normally do, but I haven't got the fingers free to do it, let's put that up there. I would bend that in half because you do not want to put a bent needle back into your machine. But just a quick fiddle like this will show you that they all want to come out, see? So the shaft and shank of it here, there's definitely no bends. We also need to have a little look along the fronts to check if there are any hooks bent, latches bent, and there's another sticky one. That one's sticky there, look. That one, oh, that is definitely bent. You can just see the butt there. All the needles out. Now can you see how filthy the bed is here? Look at that. It's really dirty. And this one over here is glistening clean. Like I said, I did half the bed for you. So I've got half the needles in here. I've got halfway a filthy bed. Now the other thing you're going to need is a cloth. Not a tissue, not a fluffy cloth. Nothing that's going to leave behind anything like lint, the fluff on the machine. This is a lint-free cloth. You can use tissue. You can't use tissue. You can use a cotton t-shirt, and I think this is what this was once upon a time. Look how dirty it gets. So let's get a cleanish bit here at this end. That's clean, right? Rub it up and down. Look how dirty that machine is. So what we're going to do first of all is wipe down all the surfaces here, all the metal surface that look oily. Let's get the first layer of dirt off. And that's generated a bit of lint, and this is what builds up underneath between the needles and in these gaps down here. Now what you can have is a very long, like a chimney brush or a wire bottle brush that goes in through here and goes the whole length of the bed, and you rub up and down and pull out, and it will pull out for you all these bits of green lint and fluff. Now I would do that because I used to be a designer and be a knitwear specialist. I'd be knitting every day, 8 hours a day. Then you need to do that once a month. But for you, you choose how often you want to do it. You'll find out. So the next step, how dirty is your machine? If it's not super uber dirty, I would use your surgical spirits, and I would get your long brush, pretend this is full of surgical spirits, dump in there and clean. But before we do that, I've forgotten a step to tell you about. We need to vacuum the dirt out, because if we add surgical spirits or any type of cleaning wet material into this machine, you're going to turn that into a mud. So it's vacuum first. Imagine it's on, because it's going to be easier to imagine it than talk when it's on. Vacuum up and down, long ways, and then you use your crevice machine, which is over there, that amazing little tool, and do all along the front and vacuum out. And then, when you think it's clean, get your little eyes and a bright light down here, eyes here, and look, can you see any lint and fluff? Now say you've got a load of fluff there and you don't have a brush, what I do is get an open latched tool like this, so this is a needle, and I would poke it through, scoop as if I'm trying to find something, and fish. Have I got any lint in there that needs fishing out? This machine doesn't have any, but that is definitely some machines. I spend an hour fishing out with a tool like that. Right, I'll go vacuum. And here's my micro tool added to the vacuum cleaner, and I've just vacuumed all along the front there. Next stage is, like I was just explaining, get that brush wet with surgical spirits. Do not use any water, don't use any soap. We're using a spirit that can dissolve grease and oil and evaporate away. And I'm going to experiment with the foaming degreasant as well. I'm just going to shake it up and spray it liberally on my machine. Don't use shaving foam. I don't think shaving foam would be a good idea, do you? And I'm going to do back in there as well, all down there. I'm going to leave that to work down for a moment. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you, don't breathe it in. Use rubber gloves if you're going to get it on your hands, but don't breathe it in. I'm going to get my brush and I'm going to work it in and clean all the way along in those grooves along the back, and really rub it in to get that grime to release from the machine. And you can see it sort of just dissipates, and just rubbing and cleaning all the way in those holes, in the cracks there, along the front in those holes, along this patch here. And there it is, all worked in and dissipated. Now, if you don't want to use this degreasing cleaner that I've been told about, this is the first machine I've used it on, you can use just plain surgical spirits. You don't have to go as far as using this degreaser, because what I'm going to have to do afterwards is take the plastics off, tip the machine up, and let the residue go to the back that I can then soak and clean it up. Now then, next step, whether it's surgical spirits or this oil, this degreasing oil, is to wipe it all really clean. The next thing is to use a tool here to poke into this hole and just pull this belt forwards so you can get a cleaning rag pinched with your fingers each side of it. Let's knock this out of the way, don't want that in it. And I'm going to just pull the belt as if it's working very carefully, not too far out because we don't want it to snap. And with cleaning materials on my rag, I'm just taking the excess dirt off that. And what I generally do is carry on till I have found the joining point twice. So then when I've started at the joining point there once, and I've pulled it all the way around, second time when I find it, I know I've done one complete circuit. Now this looks a bit worn. Wouldn't be surprised if this belt breaks in the next 6 months, but that's okay, we can fix that. So we've done that, and now while we've got the belt slightly out, I've pushed down here the part of the rag. I'm going to use the tool just to gently wipe behind the rag, but not all the way along, so we don't want to pull it out and break it. Like that, we're just wiping as much metal, that the groove it fits in, as we can. Now do remember, these are old machines. Any of these processes can make something break, but generally there's something on the YouTube that will help you find out how to repair it. Now, what's next? Oh, do you like my air duster? What I will do next is lift up the machine to the back, and I will push down like that with the air duster any of the liquid we've just used, the degreaser, to clean it. but we also need to get into the back. So let me show you what we do. There's 2 screws here. So with my star screwdriver, I've undone these screws and we just pull off. There's a little lip here. We take the plastic, see that little lip at the back? That lip was under here. Take that off, put it to the side. And then when we finished cleaning later, all the liquid, when the machine is popped up, will be at the back down here. So let's undo some more of these screws. Push the row counter all that way. We need to pull off any little knobs. That one doesn't come off by the looks of it, no, but this one here will. We're just lifting it upwards and that will just come off. So we put that at the back where it's come from. So we know that one was first. That one doesn't come off. And this one's going to come off next. Just pulling it and easing it upwards from the machine. I've got the screws, 1, 2, 3 that came in this here, and the other 2, 1, 2 at the back, and the punch card knob at the back there, corresponding to where I've got them from. Now this is going to be a bit of a fiddle just to work this now free. See, this end's free, that's ready. What I've got to work out is, does this knob come off? Let me go have a look-see. So this is all loose. This knob stays where it is. I found that much out. See, there's a hole where that's going to come from. This row counter now needs pushing out of the way, like that. So this plastic will lift up. Now lift the plastic out of the way. We'll put that at the back there so we know where it's come from. Now we're going to have a look at the workings of the machine. See if there's a lot of dirt. Blow it out with the air duster and have a look at the state of the punch card. And what I'm going to do is use the vacuum to vacuum out any nooks and crannies that are easy to do firstly. Now at this point, this is where I would stop for your basic general clean. This is just a basic, deep service clean of your knitting machine. And going any further is going into a deeper direction, which is fine, but on this one we're not going to go any further now to show you. What I would say is clean out the back, blow it out with the air, check everything seems to be working freely, using special grease to add to the points that need grease on if it needs greasing. Our needles have been soaking all this time in surgical spirit, and all we do is every so often is shake them. You can add a few drops of oil to your surgical spirit so your needles come out cleaned and oiled. And if they're particularly nasty and grimy, you would leave this overnight and keep shaking it every now and then when you feel like it. So that is basically how to clean the needle bed, check everything's fine, and I hope that helps you a lot. Stay with me because I'm going to be shooting some more videos on cleaning this machine, but I just didn't want to go too deep. I've stopped myself from going deeper in case you just want to clean the needles, the bed, remove fluff and a quick clean, where going any deeper would be like dealing with issues that your machine might have. So, and we do know we have an issue with the carriage. I don't know how easy that's going to be to fix yet. So all we do to put things back, put the plastics where they came from, put the screws back in their places, put your needles back in, replace the sponge bar, and well, that's another video by the looks of it because this one's already 20 minutes long. So I'll see you on the next video. You take care. Please like, subscribe and share. Let me know if this video has been any good to you. Take care. Bye bye.